Okay.
Connecting, and bam.
Um,
All right, so here we go. So this is a solar panel
okay.
live little walkthrough, and
Yeah.
something I'm thinking about for my roof. And I've got Dave in here with me to explain. He's how long you been in this business, the solar panel business, David?
I just started in the solar business back in January. So,
Wow. Okay, so you're
yeah,
relatively new.
I am
Where,
relatively new.
what was your experience on Zoom? Because you said you've been doing Zoom for years.
Oh, I was running a web development agency for 6 years,
Oh, okay.
and I would use it with my clients to do site walkthroughs and go over proposals and to do all kinds of just anything that we needed to show them, if something in the
Right.
back end or sometimes they're experiencing something. It had, at the time, it had like the best screen share technology that I found.
Right.
So
So so you gave me permission to use this podcast, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Now the in case you know why you do that, right? Do you know why you get
Uh,
permission?
well, I'm guessing for legal purposes, but
Well, legal purpose, no, because content is like a pink slip. If you don't actually engage in some sort of like, you can write on a piece of toilet paper, but if you don't engage in some transmission of an agreement that you're giving me permission to use this podcast, that say this podcast just went on fire. This conversation goes someplace,
hmm
and we become. First of all, the other thing is at the end of this, I give you full license to say, hey, could you edit that out? And
hmm
I wouldn't do it because I'm that kind of person. But there are people that would like, hell no, I'm taking this and I'm going to run with it. And what you would do is like all of a sudden you see, wow, this thing's got 50 million views, and they say, hey, you know what? I don't like what I said, and I want part of that money. That's
yeah.
what usually happens, especially with famous people. They're like, no, and then they're like, well, what do you got? And then you produce like the pink slip, and then now you've got like legal claim to that content because content is king.
Right, right.
Yeah, but so real quick, just your history. You were born in some odd state, and you ended up in Oregon. Where were you originally?
You're
You were in
right.
Ohio. Ohio? Was it
No, well,
Chicago?
I
Oh,
spent
Miami. Miami. No,
most of my
no.
time in Long Island, New York.
Long.
But
Oh, that's what it was. Long Island.
yeah,
I just got an
yeah.
email. I got an email from somebody from Long Island, haven't spoken to in like 20 years. He was wiped out by Hurricane Sandy, and he said, "Can you send me a copy of your dad's poster and his movie? I'm putting my house back together, and I need it." I thought that was
Oh,
kind of nice.
cool.
So
Yeah,
I got to send him a housewarming gift.
yeah.
Took him 10 years to get his house back together.
Hey,
Talk about a
you know,
wipeout.
right? It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Don't mess with Mother Nature.
Must have been quite a house too.
You can imagine. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
on the so you're an actor. You're an actor by trade.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little more interesting than doing tables, especially you couldn't be in that business now.
I know, right? Although
Yeah.
I helped my brother out for a little while when the pandemic happened. He runs a bar, and he taught me how to bartend, so I did that for a few months, just
Nice. How'd you like
kind of on
it?
the side. I loved it. It got me out of my house.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Was it like a sleepeasy? I mean, what is it? Speak easy?
It
Um,
was it's actually a sports bar over in it's near Santa Monica, but it's on Santa Monica Boulevard near the 405. I forget what that
okay.
town's technically called.
The 405. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's
It's like uh,
405.
I'm blanking on the name of
Van Nuys.
the neighborhood. Yeah, it's kind of Van Nuys,
Yeah,
but
Encino, kind of around there.
yeah, it's called the
And
Nickel Mine.
okay, nice.
Yeah,
Nickel. Nickel is a noble metal.
yeah,
Nickel.
interesting.
So is gold, silver, palladium. Uh, uh, there's a bunch of them. But yeah, the nice thing about noble metals is
Mm-hmm.
that they have no negative or positive charge. They're neutral.
Mm.
That's why they make such good fillings, and they like use it for the perfect conductor for all these electronic applications.
Wow.
It doesn't resist anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
they say that at one time the earth was mined for gold, and that aliens came here and created hybrid men to be slaves so that they can mine the gold.
Mm-hmm.
And the gold was the fuel that maintained their ability to exist.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a thing called monoatomic uh, orbitally arranged monoatomics, and that's like, you ever hear of, like, religiously you've heard manna from heaven,
Mm-hmm.
where, like Moses, who lived 800 years, and all these like strange biblical events that happened with these guys going through the desert.
Mm-hmm.
What the manna from heaven was this white powder, which is ceramic, is the byproduct of kind of pulverized gold in its natural state,
Mm-hmm.
when it's been kind of processed through water. And that when it rained, it would end up and kind of coalesce in these big piles, and the starving, biblical characters would eat it. And when
Mm-hmm.
they ate it, they were eating basically some type of a ceramic that was the a noble metal, which was gold in most
Hmm.
instances. And once you eat the gold, and you eat it
Mm-hmm.
in its pure form with water, that it acts like a one of those machines that, go forever, don't rely on any energy, but they're self-perpetuating. There's a name for what those things are.
Oh, not like fusion or something.
It's like that, but it's
Uh-huh.
actually, it's a principle. It's based on a principle where
Yeah.
it's perpetual. It's a perpetual
Uh-huh.
energy kind of device. That's what it
Uh-huh.
does. Once it enters your system, that the system can take it, and it'll run through your veins perpetually because it has no resistance. And the fuel that it runs off of allows you to basically never die,
Hmm.
as long as you feed it a little bit more, but
Mm-hmm.
you also leave the realm of human. You now
Mm-hmm.
enter the realm of the gods, that you can see into the future. You have all this ability, and you could live for like 1,000 years.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's huge on the internet. And I
Wow.
studied it maybe more than 10 years ago, and I like, holy cow. I even tried, because you can derive it from ancient mineral salts and do a little processing. You can melt down gold. You can get it in a lot of different ways, but people swear by it, and people that are on it, like, they don't age.
So you tried it?
I tried it for years, like 10 years ago. I'll never stay with anything too long. I just kind of say,
Yeah.
okay, like, that does
Yeah.
work. It definitely does something to you. But
Yeah.
I don't stick with anything that long. I kind of take a break, like, give it a rest for 10 years. And if it seemed like it was worth it, I'll come back to it. Right
Yeah.
now, right now I'm on something else.
Hmm.
Right now I'm on intermittent fasting. So that means,
Uh-huh.
like, don't eat all day, maybe nibble on a few nuts, a little piece of
Uh-huh.
chocolate or something, pure cocoa. And then, pull up as many pull-ups as you can, and then
Mm-hmm.
go swimming in a 40-degree pool. Do like all these things that are like kind of unnatural. And by
Yeah.
by by not eating, you basically, if you can do it for 3 days at a time, 4 days at a time, your body tells which cells are healthy cells. It seals those
Mm-hmm.
off. Everything else that's aberrant gets eaten. And
Hmm.
so you basically, and if you take it for like 4 or 5 days, you can go a lot longer just on
Yeah.
liquid. Your body then thinks it's dying. So what it does
Mm-hmm.
is it calls up all its endocrine systems, all its manufacturing factories, its stem cell production. It forces it to reignite. Puts it into commission, and so
Hmm.
it outputs fresh cells because it's desperate to keep you alive, and
Yeah.
it jump starts your factories. So
Wow.
now you've got all this brand new growth out
Mm-hmm.
of resistance, out of starvation.
Mm-hmm.
So you keep doing that. It's like a pattern you get into. Just eat one meal a day, eat a really good meal at night, and try to last as long as you can. You
Yeah.
have a cup of coffee around 4 o'clock. You'd be lit up like a Christmas tree. The things that you do when you're running lean is like kind of.
Yeah.
I stay away from coffee because I can't sleep at night. But when I do, I try to
Yeah.
stick with green tea. But those are some of the things I do, and then cold water
Nice.
immersion. Yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, that's
Well,
something. So,
it's keeping you young.
yeah, I'm not. I don't want to get past 39.
Yeah.
And my son who's 18 just beat me in a race, which I'm defeated. So I got to like get myself in better shape. So I haven't run in a while, but it took him up to 18. He's like, he's a striker on a soccer team. So
Wow. Cool.
I'm notorious for beating people in races. And I love taking my high school classes out to a field, and I say anybody who beats me gets an A for the semester. And
Yeah.
normally I beat them
Yeah.
because
That's
kids are
awesome.
like couch potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But okay, let's get back to like some numbers on this, just to get an idea what. So the topic was solar heating.
Yeah.
What did you come up with? Because
Solar
I
power.
solar power. I did tell you that Tesla wasn't able to deliver a uh, a battery,
Yeah.
which is
Um,
odd.
well, that's because they're on back order.
Right.
So for right now, they're telling us 90 days
That's pretty
for
good.
batteries. Yeah,
Right.
which is yeah, it is what it is, and we can do the solar in the meantime and get you up and running with that. So
Right. That's great.
that's yeah, that's easy. And then later on, when the batteries are here, we just deliver them and then we install them.
Right.
So
Sounds great.
yeah,
So did you find anything on on the panels? Like any, do you have anything in order of uh like I have clay panels. Is there not a standard square rectangular panel, but an actual like something that looks like a Spanish tile version of of a panel?
like a no, not that I know of right now. I know
Okay.
they're making like roof tiles that are look that for like comp shingles, but
Right.
that's a whole
Yeah.
nother way to go. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like these look like shingles, right? It's kind of
yeah, yeah.
they're interlocking. The
Hmm.
Chinese have a version of it that they put on they've been putting into their manufactured homes and stuff.
Yeah,
That's I don't think they've made it across to here yet. At least they're not popular.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I know Tesla was making a panel too like that.
Hmm. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about it is once you put that, and I'm learning about that style of panel, but once you put that on your roof, you can't walk on it. Like that's
Right,
one area that you're
you're
like,
done. It's done. Yeah, you're like set it and forget it. If you have
right?
if you have something going on with anything up there like a vent, you're got to
Yeah,
find a way from the inside up or something.
yeah. Or
Yeah,
you arrange them that you so that you have walkways or something in between them. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, it's something
yeah.
to consider because you're right because you just put up a basically a glass pane up there that can't take any pressure.
Yep, yep. Exactly.
Yeah, there must be well, there's probably some workaround. It might be some kind of bridge that you can make that's supported at the edges that you can walk across
Yeah, or maybe they do sections of them, and then they have like a row of just normal
where you can walk.
shingles that you could
Right.
walk. Yeah, and
Yeah,
get to your what you got to do.
right. Because you got to imagine there could be some trouble spots that might need some work because who knows. But that's a whole nother
Yeah,
story. It's
yeah,
true. Opens up a can of worms.
yeah,
But so do the solar panels, which I'm I have a really nice clay roof that's got like a
yeah.
50-year lifetime not lifetime but a 50-year
Uh
warranty
huh.
on it. But if you disrupt it, it's void. So the idea of putting these panels in place and then getting the anchors to set these panels right into the
Yeah.
lumber of the house, it's like, man, I know about water, and water finds its way down every little potential there
You're
is.
right about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's
Well,
frightening.
yeah. That's what I wanted to share with you is that there are roofs that look like yours. Some of them are cement tiles, and then there's what you have, the clay tile.
Right.
And you're right about that. So what happens is we're also a licensed roofing company.
Yeah.
So what we do in the case of a clay tile roof is like yours is we we get the site plan, engineering just develops it with us. They say, okay, here's what you can and you can't do. Here's how the layout is. And then when we go and install them, we remove the tiles that would be underneath where roof penetrations would be, so, and underneath the solar panels. And then we install the solar panels and we re-roof those clay tiles. We use the same clay tiles to re-roof. So you get new clay tiles under the panels, and then we guarantee them since we're a roofing company. And I'll show you in our proposal.
Yeah,
We just guarantee everything that we're touching for 25 years. So
that's good.
yeah, so there's no like if you were like, oh, you hire a solar company to touch your roof and put penetrations in it, then they like do that, and then like later on you call them and they're like, well, we did our best, but you got to go get a roofing guy. And then the roofing guy's like, no, they messed it up. You got to get them. And then you got people pointing fingers at each other. So
Right.
so you alleviate all that with us. So we do it both,
Okay,
both
great.
jobs. And so that's what it'll look like. And I included that in your proposal is to re-roof underneath the panels with clay
Okay.
tile.
All
Yeah.
right. Great. And what did we come up with in terms of panels? What panels did you go with? The
Yeah. You
425?
you shared with me you liked the high end panels. Here, I'm gonna share my screen if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So here's the beginning of it. Um, and I could go through our company and everything, but we can get back to that because you asked about
Yeah.
panels.
Right.
So these are the panels. You like our high-end panels that we carry are LG and Panasonic.
Right.
And so I picked the biggest, the largest wattage LG panels that we had. Because
Okay.
I normally like choosing like the 420s or somewhere in this upper 300 range.
Right.
Um, you just get more output from them. And you can kind of
Right.
see from this image where we would lay them out. You get some shade from this tree, huh? This big tree.
Yeah, we've cut it back, so it's not as bad, but it does
Oh,
it
okay.
does it does cast shadow. And then
Yeah.
the garage, there was a branch that's over the garage that's gone now.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I love when people keep their trees,
yeah,
but it
well, actually, these are protected. These are all oak trees. These are
great.
these are trees you have to get permission to cut them.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
I
trim
love
them.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're sacred. I love them. They're great trees.
Yeah, and it gives you shade in the summer. It's like
Oh yeah, exactly. It pays for itself.
yeah. But luckily, you shared your utility bill with me, so I got to see your usage, and this many panels covers your usage. So
Great.
you're fortunate in that respect, where you don't need to cover your whole roof in solar panels.
Right.
And it looks like if I put them right there, that looks like a good sunny spot.
Yeah, it
That they
does.
would get the most bang for your buck out of them. And the other thing that happens with this is once we go to the next step and you say, all right, let's do this, I'll schedule a site evaluator to come out there next week, and they come out and they do kind of like eyes on the ground. They go up on your roof, they take measurements, they take pictures of everything, and they were like,
Right.
okay, yeah, this looks this is where we want to put them, and then they take all that info and they give it to the engineering department, and they make a site plan out of your roof, and then they lay it out technically.
Right.
They're the final say
Got
because
it.
they know what gets passed with permits
Right.
and what the code is, and there's setbacks too, like what we were talking about before with the solar roofs with the shingles. The fire department needs to have 36 inches from the ridge of your house and from the sides. You can have your
Right.
solar panels up to the bottom edge of your roof, but they need to be able to send a fireman up on your roof, and he needs to be able to walk through and do what he needs to do.
Oh, interesting.
So that's a little bit about how that
Yeah.
process works.
Okay.
Yeah. And these are the LG 375s. These are great. They're a premium panel, and you're gonna get a lot of power production out of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So then here's like a little breakdown of what's going on before solar, and then this is after solar. Does that make
Right.
sense to you?
Yeah. Annual
Yeah.
usage 6,000.
Yeah. And this is how much it's basically costing you.
Right.
And then this is the system size that I built for you.
Right.
And let's see. We could increase it if you want. I could put more panels and it would cover your whole
Yeah,
Um,
might be worth it. I mean, it looks like that that space could have because the branch was cut back further.
oh,
So,
actually, yeah, and you know what? You're probably right. You're probably going to get more production, but here's your annual production in the system that I built for you.
oh, okay.
So
So it's
so your annual the average usage, and this averages like your winter months
right,
where you're, and then there's summer months when you're using the AC, right?
right.
I'm guessing. So it averages all that out, and so over the year you're here, and then this is what the system will produce for you.
Okay,
So it's
then we're
just over
ahead.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ahead. And also my question for you is that you said you have a Tesla, right?
Yeah.
How long have you had that Tesla?
This in my second year.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's in your average. You've used it all year. So this
Yeah.
annual usage that you have includes the Tesla
Yep.
that you charge.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so you're covered.
Yep.
You'll be driving on sunshine.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Love that.
this is what your bill will wind up being each month.
Right.
And this is just an interconnection fee so that you stay connected to the grid, which is what you want. I mean, in case something happens, you know, you need to go pull energy from the grid, or also um, it it's actually the grid becomes your partner at that
Right.
point. You know, because say it's cloudy and your system's not producing, or we have like a week of storms, you get to pull off the grid, and then that goes away, and the sun comes back. You start producing
Right.
power again. If you're producing more than you're using, it's crediting back the grid.
Got
I
it.
don't know if we talked about that in the past, but so what happens
Yeah.
is once you go solar, or if you're familiar with that process, once what happens with the each
Yeah,
month you're not going to get.
credits and stuff like that.
That's it
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to stop getting a bill each month. You'll start getting a statement.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, they do like a reconciliation of did you use more than you produced, or did you produce more than you used?
Right.
And so if you produce more than you use, they just credit you for the next year.
Right.
And then if you used more, like say you added another car, or you were running the AC because the global warming or whatever, and it was
Right.
hotter months, then
Right.
you would just settle up with them and pay for the power that that you owe,
The
that you
difference.
used.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Right.
difference. But I like to like this here. I it's overestimated a little bit, and
Yeah.
there's a few reasons for that. One of the main reason is that we're in this for 25 years. That's how
Right.
we're looking at it, and probably longer. That's our warranties that we offer. Your system will
Right.
probably last longer than that.
Right.
Um, but you're over time, especially after like year 15, you're going to get a little bit of degradation from the
Right.
panels. It's
Right.
like less than 1% or something like that.
Right.
Um, and so we account for that. So we overestimate it a little bit.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. And then the other thing is like, and part of these guarantees, it's like up here, we guarantee our production.
Right.
So um, when I say and say this gets verified, engineering signs off, and we wind up installing this 15 panels for you with an inverter. We're going to guarantee this production. That means that at the end of your first year, we look at what it produced, and if it didn't produce this number,
Right.
say it produced less, instead of just we'll pay you for the power. Like instead of just paying you for the electricity, we give you another panel for free.
Oh wow.
So that just hikes up your production.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody else does that. We
Wow.
just are like, here, end of year one. Are you happy? Did it do what we said it did?
Right.
Oh, it didn't? Here's a panel. We'll install it for you. Now
Wow.
you should be
That's pretty
more
cool.
than satisfied. Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. So
Yeah.
there's room for like kind of fudging another panel if the numbers don't add up.
Yep. Yep. And we could always
Nice.
do that too. Like, say you bought another electric vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And say your son's like, hey, I want a Tesla or a Volt or something.
Right.
We can do that too. We'll just add panels down the road
Nice.
because you're our client at that point. So
Right.
we'll give you a good price, and I'll hook you up, and we'll get it
I
figured out. Normally, adding an electric vehicle is like 3,600 watts a year. That's what they say on average.
right.
So it could be like somewhere around I usually say like 4 to 6 panels extra. With yours, it'd probably be maybe like 4 panels because you got these big LGs.
Right.
That would probably cover another vehicle if you were to add one down the road.
Right. Nice.
Yeah,
Good to know.
yeah,
It's nice because yeah, it's nice how these things are expandable.
yeah, I agree. Well, and plus, it's like the technology is always increasing. By that time, it's a year or two down the road, we'll have 450-watt panels.
Right.
We
Exactly.
already
I
know. I
mean,
mean, we
they're
carry some 420s, but
yeah. I mean, they're putting those in commercially, just not residentially.
yeah, they're gonna roll out 450s residentially. LG, actually, we're gonna get them in April.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh wait, no,
What
they're 395s. The 395s are coming out in April.
can we wait till April to get the 395s?
We could. It honestly wouldn't make that huge of a difference for you with
Right.
with your design. I could do the calculations to see how much more it would produce,
Yeah.
but when I think like cost wise, would you want to wait? I my inclination is leaning towards like get your system in and get off the grid. Start making your own electricity and stop paying the power company. you
Right.
know.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
later on, if you wanted to add more panels, I could add some more 395s.
Right.
But for our purposes,
Right.
these
It's not going to make that big a difference. You're only looking
no,
20 a pop.
yeah, 20 watts each.
Yeah.
So I could do the math on that. Just if you like, that's where
I'm
my
I'm
logic
kind
when
of
I
I'm
think of it.
yeah, no, I agree. I just think I think like the Chinese. I'm looking down the
Yeah,
road. I'm looking down the
yeah.
road, and down the road is just like my payment for my mortgage. I'd much rather suffer more now and get out of the interest payments
Mm-hmm.
and double up on my principal and
Mm-hmm.
pay the price now, because down the road that's just gonna you're gonna see the reverse of that,
Yeah.
the disparity.
Right.
And so when you double up on the power, you'll see the slow increase in terms of the returns on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I look down the road, 10 years down the road, the extra 20 times 14,
Mm-hmm.
that's a couple panels.
Yeah. 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 If I just did the math on this, like if so, they're the 395 watts. It was if I multiplied it times 15, you would get 300 more watts. So
Yeah.
if these were 395s, you'd get the equivalent of a little less than one more panel. So that's
Yeah.
that's the increase that's coming down the road. So it's
I,
not huge,
it's not
you know.
huge, but
No.
a whole panel could light a whole, a room all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something. It's a torch.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
torch. So I'd rather go. I mean, because April's about my timing. That's when I want to.
Is
That's
it?
kind of yeah.
Okay.
That's like my timeline. I like April to start at least getting the thing situated. So
Yeah.
and I like the larger panel, more
Okay.
bang for my buck.
Great. Great. We also have, I mean, right now we carry Q Cell 420s.
I'd go with 420s.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd
All
go with
right.
I would rather have more juice for my investment than less. I'd rather go bigger with less, taking up less
That's
space.
that's where I usually start, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put these LGs in because you mentioned LGs and you liked the
LGs are
company.
good. Yeah, LGs are good. Who makes the 420s?
Q Cell.
Q Cell.
I'll send you
Is Q
I'll
Cell
send you an email.
domestic or is that Chinese?
They're engineered in Germany and I'm pretty sure they're manufactured in the US.
Oh man, I like both of those.
Right?
German, yeah.
It's like,
German, yeah. Yeah, I like that. I'm down for that.
all right,
I'm a big supporter of Germany.
great.
Yeah,
So here's what
I'm trying to buy
yeah,
less from China.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard to
I
it's
understand that.
difficult to do, but
I
I'm
know,
making
right?
every effort though is like I'm really thinking twice about buying Chinese. Although I still buy it, but I'm getting, just as I just learned from some students about day trading. I'm like, okay, so I bought some stock, and stock right now to buy is like uh 5G, buy into any AI, buy into like
Mm-hmm.
electric vehicles, and I did, and I made a quick killing, and then I reinvested, and I lost it all because they're all Chinese companies, and the Chinese
Oh.
love to play with you, especially on day trading. They're like, "Ha I got your money." I was like, "Oh wow, okay." I learned that lesson. When you're up
Yeah,
200,
that
when you're up,
happens.
when you're up 200%, take it.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's not. It's funny money. I learned the term.
Yeah.
The term is taking a profit.
Right.
That's what you need to learn. Taking a
Yeah,
profit.
my buddy does crypto, and he's like, when I'm up like that, he's like, I sell half,
Yep.
and then I
Smart.
reinvest in an opposing
Yeah,
category.
it's called not pigging out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so what I'll do is I'll build this same system to get this achieve some the output um, to cover this, right, with
Right.
420s, and we'll see if it'll be less panels, and see what
Right.
that does to the price. And here's
Okay.
what we are with the price, just to show you, um, because you mentioned that you were pre-approved with a third-party financer, which is
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I talked with my financing department, and they said that what we do in that situation is we just treat it like cash. So you would go and get your loan with your
Yep.
pre-approved party, and then you or them would send us the check for whatever the
Perfect.
amount is. So that's why
Perfect.
I created this for cash. And so here's your federal tax credit that you get at the end of the year based on
Mm-hmm.
this. So you would talk to your tax advisor about that, and then this is what it nets actually. That's your net
Nice.
investment. Now that's also before this up here. I don't know if you got to see. This is I included the re-roof, right?
Right.
That's in this price. But what isn't in this price right now is this rebate,
Oh, nice.
and we will apply for this for you and handle it.
Okay.
And what happens is the state will mail you a check for that. That's
Wow.
the SGIP rebate. It's self generating incentive program.
Oh, nice. All
Yeah,
right. I like that.
that's
And
cool,
then
right?
yeah, I love it. I haven't heard that one. I mean, there's a couple weird ones that you got to kind of look up that aren't,
Yeah,
but that's a good one. What about the solar? I mean, the battery.
yeah. And here's your battery, the Tesla Powerwall 2. I
Right.
I figured with this usage, you only need one.
Right.
This is a Tesla battery is good for it'll hold 13.5 thousand watts, so
Wow.
13.5
Right.
kilowatts,
Right.
and I think that's plenty for your system to back up your house.
Oh yeah.
And, um, if you wanted more, of course, we could sell you another one, but
Yeah, I
I
think
just
one's
kind of
good.
like,
I'm
yeah, I
I'm
tried
kind
on.
of
I was
low.
like, what would I do?
Yeah, I'm pretty stingy on electricity. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
running all their computers and stuff, but with air conditioning, our house doesn't get in the winter it's 60 degrees. That's
Yeah.
what it's set at, 60. And I don't usually go higher than that. And
Wow.
in
Wow.
the summer, yeah, in the summer it's set at like 70, and or yeah, 70 in the mid 70s. But yeah,
Yeah.
the idea is not to get too comfortable in a uh, never get too comfortable in a temperature controlled environment, because
Yeah.
it's just not natural. Then
There
you're
you
not.
go.
Yeah, it's like I don't want anybody. I'm not going to allow that to happen on my watch. It just doesn't. It's not conducive. I love going outside when it's 50 degrees in running shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, and you should do that. You should make it a habit.
Yeah.
So when you go
Just kind
inside
of
the
like,
house, when you go inside the house and it's 60 degrees, it's like, wow, it's warm in here. And then
yeah.
and then what's wrong with wearing a sweater? I was in a pool this morning. It was
Yeah.
45, so I'm wearing a sweater because I
Mm-hmm.
want to warm up. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's something to do, not to be so not to be so subjected to a temperature controlled environment, because then people go from their car to their house, and if they're ever exposed to anything of what nature truly has to deliver, they're
Yeah.
toast, they're
Yeah.
gone. You know that, you're from Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah. Spent some time up there.
Yeah. All right, well, this looks
All
pretty
right.
good. I'm be curious
Yeah.
what it turns into. uh
So
yeah.
here's what you're looking at, and I don't know what kind of, scenario you'll have with the financing, but this is just this chart here is a conservative model of what you're saving
Right.
over time, right? And if you look over here, this is the rate of energy, right?
Right.
And this is your usage right now. We're saying that it's going to stay this rate and then go up, but this gradual, we know that's not the case.
Right.
But we just kind of put this together. The power companies, they jack up their rates, and
Oh
sometimes
yeah.
it's a big jump.
Oh yeah.
So look at, and so then here you have all, this is all the money you'll save
Wow.
after.
That's incredible.
Yeah, especially by year 20. I
Oh
think
yeah.
they should put a column here, and it tally all this
Oh yeah.
money,
Well,
you
my
know.
intention is to get it paid off in pretty short order, so I'm just like
Yeah,
free and clear of any interest and stuff like that. So
that's great.
I'll plow into that as fast as I can.
Yeah, and it's smart because it's like then you look at it as an investment, and you're getting a return on your investment like way
Yeah,
quicker,
it's
you
funny
know.
because I have a friend who's lived in or he lives in Rogue River. He
Oh
bought
yeah,
the
it's
he bought
beautiful.
the he bought the Granger estate. Granger, the tool company, Granger.
Uh-huh.
It's
Wow.
some insane 150 acres of the Cascade Mountain Range. It's absolutely nuts. Has his own lake, but
Uh-huh.
uh, he won't get solar. And I want you to get solar. His electric bill is like insane. And I said, why don't you get solar? He goes, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, what doesn't make sense? It just
What?
doesn't. Well, first of all, they don't do it out there because it's not. You'd have to bring in somebody, an outside contractor, because it's not something that's available. There aren't any vendors in the area.
Huh.
But he said,
Interesting.
yeah, but it's funny how he goes, nope, I'll buy it when it makes more sense to me. But I don't see how it doesn't
Wow.
make sense. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like the money that he's paying for that electricity, he can be generating it and paying that money to his own system to do it
exactly,
himself.
exactly,
And like I've been out there, those properties, like you don't even have to worry about putting it on your roof. There's so much land, you could just create a
exactly.
solar array on the ground and
Oh, you
like
got you got it. I gotta have another conversation with him. You're absolutely right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's smart because it's now you're farming.
Yeah. Yeah. And however the grid is producing electricity, if it's coal or whatever they're doing, you're backing out of that. You're not
Exactly.
participating.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
All right.
So you let me know. I mean, you said your timing is April.
Yep. I'd be
We
good to
can
go in April.
we could do that. This is the solar journey here. This kind of gives you a little timeline of how it goes. If you
Right.
want me to walk through that real quick.
Go right ahead.
All right. So this is today.
Hmm.
And this is, say we started today and we're like, okay, you don't want to go, but we'll do this in April.
Right.
Um, Financing, you go away and get your financing. That could take anywhere up to 3 days. Probably you probably would have it like the same day because you said you were pre-approved.
Right.
We would just set up a first thing I would do is I'd send you over an agreement, um, and then we'd send a you would look at that over, and then we would send a site evaluator out. We'd
Right.
schedule that time, so he'd go and do the site eval, and take the pictures and measurements and everything. Look at your roof, make sure everything is what we think it will be, and there's no unexpecteds. And then that goes to engineering. Engineering works on your designs. Honestly, it takes them an hour. 45
Right.
minutes to an hour, but we give them 3 days because they're busy and I don't know when they can get to it.
Right.
But so just a few days, we get a final design, and we submit those plans to the city.
Right.
And you'll see on these sections right here, these are where the longest amounts of time are because they're out of our hands. This
Right.
is permitting department. It can take 1 to 2 weeks to get your permit.
Yep.
They get the permit. We set up an installation date. 2 to 3 days usually we say, but That's just for scheduling purposes. Your system, we could install it in a day.
Right.
Super easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can take 2 or 3 days, depending on if they run into something. But
Right.
so then your solar system gets installed. Then we say, okay, it's installed. We tell the city, okay, we installed it. We need an inspection, and then they're 5 to 10 business days to come out there. We're just it's in
The
their
one thing I don't
hands.
see on there, the utility connection in the box. The box, how does that work with updating a box, or do you need to update a box?
Yeah,
The-
so here's what happens after this. Inspector says, okay, you guys are good. Then we go to the utility company and we apply for permission to operate. They call it
Right.
PTO. That can
Okay.
take 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
That's another chunk of time, but that's in the utility company's hands. Sometimes they surprise us and it's sooner, but we
Right.
just like to set your
That's nice. I
expectations.
like that. I'm becoming a company.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like their partner now. They're like, oh, you're gonna
Exactly.
send us power.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so you get PTO. They say, okay, you're good to go. We flip it on and you go into monitoring.
Got it.
So we set you up with our monitoring department, and you get an app on your phone, and you can just check how much your system's producing. You can look on there and see if there's something changed and there might be a problem. Then
Right.
you would just like go to our site and request a service call, and we'll send a technician out there to be like, okay, what's going on? What do we see?
Right.
And we can also look at your system from here too, but sometimes we need to send somebody out there to get eyes on it.
Right.
But like for instance, I just had a client. He had this system, and he was like, one of my panels isn't producing like the others. So the monitoring went in there, and they were like, oh yeah, we see that. And then they looked at the pictures. They're like, see this standpipe for the chimney? That throws shade part of the day. That will decrease your production on that one panel. That's all. He's like, oh, cool. So we knew it
Yeah.
wasn't a problem. It was just
Right.
they solved
Right.
it but we'll be in touch with you. You're like, we're here with you
Yeah.
for 25 years. So
Right. Exactly. Just keep that tree trim back. That'll be our only obstacle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know you're not allowed to cut more than I think it's 2 inch and 2 inch branch without permission.
Oh, really?
Otherwise you have to get permits. So I gotta get
Wow.
my trimming pole up there and go to work, make sure they're all
Yeah.
hacked back. But that's easy.
Well, we'll see, because it looks like you have this section, and the site evaluator will confirm this.
Right.
But it could be that because this is our images are north, this is south.
Right.
This might get enough exposure without whacking the tree back, but we'll
Right.
see. Well,
Yeah.
plus you said it's already been trimmed since
Yeah,
this
it's been
image.
trimmed. It has. So I think
Okay.
we're even better off than that right now.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So next steps I see are I will put together a bid with QCell 420s just so you can see the difference,
right.
and then you can make a decision from there if that works for you.
Okay, good. So you've sent me this one. I could go over that and then I can compare the two. And
Exactly.
then I can decide what the best route will be.
Yeah, which way you want to go, and if you want, I would say. Here's the thing with the batteries. We were talking earlier, they're 90 days out, right?
Right.
Since we have this time before you even want to get started, I would almost get the financing in place and order your batteries, or at least
Yeah.
put a deposit on your batteries and get those ordered so we don't have to wait. Because that
I'm
would put
good.
us what? We got March to April to May to June. Yeah, we could get your batteries most likely by June. Otherwise, if we waited, it would be July or August.
Right. I'm good to put a deposit on it.
Okay.
Just tell me
Okay,
what I
great.
need to do. I'd be glad to.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put that next one together before I leave here today. I'll send it over to you, and then we can touch base tomorrow if you want.
Sounds good, David. I've learned a lot.
All right, Romeo.
Close out, and we will. I'll wait for your next email with that updated system specs. And other than that, have a great day, David. Nice
Thank
conversation
you.
as usual.
Yeah, you too. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I learned a lot too, actually.
Did
Thanks
you?
for all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were telling me about the gold powder and the all
Oh yeah,
kinds of stuff. The
look at
fasting and yeah,
look up that monoatomics. Monoatomics.
monoatomics. Thank
Oh,
you.
it's a rabbit hole. Sorry to send you into. I haven't. I mean, the truth is, I could rattle off for hours, but I've kind of lost a
Yeah.
lot of like the best parts of it. I have to go watch it again because it's really complicated. There's a guy though you want to
Yeah.
watch. He's the father of it. His name is Hudson. So you want to watch this
Okay.
guy Hudson. He was a dirt farmer who
Hmm.
discovered it, and he did all the really heavy lifting. And the guy is like a genius. He's a
Yeah.
genius who pulled the scientists together and these kind of people to reveal. I mean, Russian scientists
Yeah.
the story is absolutely insane hearing it from
Wow.
him. But
Yeah. Yeah.
he understands it in a way that he just sees it as the holy grail to longevity. It's like it'll
Wow. Wow.
revolutionize medicine as we know it, type of thing. Everybody else
Well,
is,
all right.
yeah.
I'm gonna read.
All
I'm gonna
right.
look it up now.
Hudson. So monoatomic, and look at
Hudson.
his name is Hudson. You
Hudson.
got to look him up.
Okay.
Everybody else is like, man, who knows where you're going? But this guy, at least it's
Yeah.
from the horse's mouth. All right.
Right.
Nice talking to you again, David. Have a
You
great day.
too.
All right.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
Romeo. Bye bye.